Welcome to the Shoalwater Bay Training Area. This is Australia's premier military training area and is located on the east coast of Australia, midway between Brisbane and Cairns. It's around a 1-hour trip north of Rockhampton by road. The Shoalwater Bay Training Area covers more than 450,000 hectares. It includes over 270,000 hectares of land and a further 180,000 hectares of marine areas. The land area is similar to the size of the Australian Capital Territory, more than 4 times the size of Singapore, and around the same size as the state of Rhode Island. Shoalwater Bay is a complex area containing protected coastal waters, native forests, rainforests, rolling hills, and steep mountainous areas. The Shoalwater Bay Training Area is the only location where Navy, Army and Air Force can engage in joint training exercises, making it one of Australia's most important defence training locations. In the early 1960s, the Australian government purchased the Shoalwater Bay Training Area for military purposes. The training area is used by the Australian Defence Forces for most of the year. It's also used by American, Singaporean, New Zealand, United Kingdom and other allied forces to undertake controlled training exercises with Australian forces. Exercises can involve from 20 to over 20,000 personnel. Sound environmental management is critical to maintaining Defence's readiness. The ongoing use of the Shoalwater Bay Training Area for defence purposes and the environmental protection of the area go hand in hand. In fact, it is the environmental characteristics of the area that make it so suitable for military training. Careful and conscientious environmental management preserves the biological and geographic diversity of the area, ensuring continued training utility. This also ensures that this area remains a place of beauty for generations to come. Shoalwater Bay is home to numerous plant and animal species, many of which are endangered or unique to the area. It also contains many sites of cultural importance and relics of the early European presence in Australia. The Shoalwater Bay Training Area flows into the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park and is encompassed by and part of the internationally recognised World Heritage Area. When all is said and done, sustained environmental management is far more cost effective than repairing the damage caused by years of neglect. Proactive management of the environment is fundamental to our ability to train and maintain operational capabilities. This is clearly set out in Defence's environmental policy statement. Defence's vision is to be a leader in sustainable environmental management to support the ADF's capability to defend Australia and its national interests. Environmental management is the responsibility of all personnel using or visiting the Shoalwater Bay Training Area. You can help by adhering to the Shoalwater Bay Training Area standing orders and the guidelines contained in the Shoalwater Bay Environmental Leaflet. Our aim is to use Shoalwater Bay within its sustainable limits. Range control and environmental staff continually monitor the condition of the area. From time to time, we must restrict access to certain areas to enable their restoration and repair. These no-go areas must not be entered by personnel or equipment. Permanent camps have been established at Samuel Hill and Camp Growl to minimise environmental disturbance caused by the accommodation of exercise participants. Both are provided with electricity, articulated water and wastewater systems, lighting, telephone facilities, all-weather tent sites and numerous support buildings including kitchens and administrative buildings. Several airstrips have been established, including an all-weather strip at Williamson's airfield capable of landing most military aircraft and another strip at Samuel Hill. You can help to minimise soil erosion by filling and mounting weapon pits and other excavations after use, by not driving vehicles across drains, steep creek banks and eroded areas, and by driving carefully on formed roads, particularly during wet weather. Damage to roads should be reported to your commander or range control immediately to allow repairs to be carried out promptly. Shoalwater Bay Training Area is an important biodiversity area, home to many endangered or unique plants and animals. With less than 7% of the area having been cleared, the ecology of the Shoalwater Bay Training Area is healthier and more viable than any other area along Australia's eastern coastline south of Cooktown. Some weeds and pests are found within the Shoalwater Bay Training Area. Parthenium weed and giant rat's tail grass are of particular concern and should be avoided at all times. There are also wild pigs, dogs, foxes, goats, horses, cattle and cats in the training area. Defence maintains an ongoing program to control the spread of pests and weeds throughout the Shoalwater Bay training area. To protect the ecological diversity of the area, you must not harass any animals or use trees, animals or termite mounds as targets. You must obtain the approval of environmental personnel before clearing any large trees. You must thoroughly wash vehicles, boots and equipment before entering the training area to avoid the introduction of weeds and pests, and you must not souvenir animals and plants. Australia has strict customs and quarantine regulations to keep foreign weeds and pests out of the country. Visitors may not bring fresh foods, dairy products, meals, flowers, drugs and prohibited substances into Australia. The Shoalwater Bay training area is highly prone to bushfire, which can cause severe environmental damage and disrupt or cancel training activities. Take care not to start bushfires. Clear all vegetation within 2 metres of a campfire or hexamine stove, completely extinguish fires before leaving them, and report all fires to range control immediately. It's inevitable that a military exercise will produce waste products, and effective waste management is an integral part of environmental management. Do not bury, burn or leave waste products behind. Take all rubbish, including food scraps, packaging, old targets, oils, fuels and batteries with you and put it in designated waste collection facilities. Never bury any ammunition. Plan carefully prior to the exercise with an aim to minimising waste production. Remember, minimising waste also makes good economic sense. Pollution from wastewater has the potential to cause severe environmental harm. Toilets and showers are provided at Camp Growl and Samuel Hill. Some toilets are also provided in the field. Wherever possible, use the established toilets. Bury human wastes in accordance with Shoalwater Bay Training Area standing orders and do not dispose of wastewater into creeks. Oils, fuels and other hazardous materials can have a long-term impact on the environment. As there are no permanent refuelling facilities at the Shoalwater Bay training area, it's important that you handle fuels properly and that you refuel carefully to avoid any spillages. Report any spills immediately to range control personnel. The Shoalwater Bay training area contains important marine habitats. The mangroves, seagrass beds, islands and dunes provide breeding and feeding areas for dugongs, sea turtles, numerous fish species and a host of birds. For those of you engaged in maritime or close to the shore activities, please do not damage mangroves and seagrass beds. Do not chase or go near dugongs and turtles. Do not refuel vessels without first obtaining environmental approval. And most importantly, do not dispose of wastes into the Great Barrier Reef marine parks. The Shoalwater Bay training area is one of Australia's most valuable defence training areas. Defence's commitment to responsible environmental management ensures that we will be able to use the Shoalwater Bay training area for defence purposes well into the future.
Well, Defence takes its responsibility as a land manager very, very importantly. We're running this Weeds and Seeds course to train people to inspect vehicles as they're entering and leaving training areas such as the Shoalwater Bay training area. It's important that we do this to make sure that we maintain our environment in the pristine condition that it already is. To do that, we don't want to transport in or out any weeds or soil-borne pathogens. So this course is an important step, one of many, in making sure that we are responsible land managers. We want to be good neighbours and we want to look after the country that we've got. The wash point has been designed so that we can wash vehicles from top to bottom. We do it in a logical, systemic way. We start at the top of the vehicle, work down the vehicle and finish up with the chassis. Before we finish up with the chassis, of course, we open up the bonnet, clean under there with compressed air. The same with the cabin and the cabin areas, so that we blow out any weeds and seeds and the like. And then we finish up by going underneath and finishing off under the chassis, the cross arms and around the tyres.